You're gonna.
So today we're going to talk about George Harrison's post-Beatle sensation triple album, All Things Must Pass, which is celebrating its 50th anniversary. Ted, what do you think of this album?
Well, I think one could make the argument that this is the best solo Beatle record. You could put it up against Lennon, McCartney, their first two albums, and I think Harrison's would come out on top. I think the depth of the songs, he covers, it's different styles, but always in his own Harrison way.
Yeah.
He had this, backlog of songs, and he had time to work on them as well. And when it came time to put it out, he was ready.
I did not know that it was the top-selling solo Beatle album.
I didn't know that either. Yeah.
Outselling, let's see, what would have been McCartney's biggest seller, do you think? Ram?
Oh, Ram, Band on the Run? Or that's
On the Run, probably.
Or is that a Wings album? Or
good question. Maybe that is a Wings album.
I should know that.
Let me look at the album cover and see what it says.
Yeah. Is it because it was Band on the Run is him and Denny Lane and Linda, though, right? For the most part.
Right. Band on the Run, studio album by Paul McCartney, it says.
Oh, okay.
So I guess they helped him, but it wasn't technically a Wings album.
Yeah.
But I would guess that that's probably his top seller.
Yep.
That would take a little Googling, but.
Right, exactly, yeah.
And do you think Lennon's top seller, what do you think his would be?
Imagine. Probably.
Although I bet Double Fantasy sold a lot.
True, yeah, because of the circumstances.
And it had at least two hits, right? Three. Watching the Wheels, Woman, and Starting Over.
Starting Over, right. That's true.
Those probably all were top 50 at least hits.
I think so, yeah. I remember, I was a freshman in high school when that came out. I remember hearing Starting Over on the radio constantly.
Yeah, that was on a lot.
Yeah. But it's surprising that a triple album, is the bestseller.
Yeah, and really with only one hit, right?
Yeah.
My Sweet Lord.
My Sweet Lord, that's right.
That is incredible that that's the top seller.
Right, because you wouldn't think a triple album, people would shell out that money,
Yeah. I also read that cumulatively, Ringo has actually made the most money post-Beatles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he toured endlessly.
Oh, he has his Ringo Starr in the All-Star Band, right?
Yeah.
Who? Yeah.
That may be wrong, but I think I heard John Lennon say that in an interview once. Someone was asking him, how are you all doing? And he said, I think Ringo's doing better than anybody. But that was probably, like in 1976 or something.
Right, because wasn't there some concern when they broke up about how Ringo was going to do? Yeah. Like Ringo's down to his last 5 million, yeah. But yeah, so I think they helped him out, right? Like songwriting and playing on his records, and
right.
But
getting back to All Things Must Pass, so I guess one of those songs, Isn't It a Pity?
Mm-hmm. I
just read in that article that I sent you last night. He wrote that all the way back during the Revolver sessions.
That's right. Yeah, I remember. I had no idea. So do you think he had, because it was, rejected? Do you think he had time to kind of hone that song more? And
probably.
So I guess we would get to hear the demo, right? From this new.
Maybe, yeah, that would be cool.
To see how the song kind of progressed from, what was it, 66 to 71 or 71?
I have this picture of him now in my mind, just kind of like tolerating being a Beatle and being like any free moment he had, being off at his country estate,
gardening,
the things he really wanted to do, and pulling in all the real friends he had, and
yeah. Bring Jim Keltner over and put him on drums, and and Willie Weeks, and Andy Newmark and all those guys,
Right.
Klaus Foreman.
I also read this other article the other day that he was really bored out of his mind during the Sergeant Pepper.
Yeah, it
That's-
seems, yeah, that was McCartney's project. And
yeah.
yeah, it's funny reading things over the years, because Harrison said that being a Beatle actually made him not as good a guitar player as he could have been.
Hmm.
Because they were, I don't know why, maybe because they were in the studio, or McCartney decided he wanted to take the guitar part, or but he says that though, and then I look at his body of work, and I look at his guitar work that he did do in the Beatles, and it's still, I mean, stellar.
Yeah, plus all those years of playing those shows in Hamburg and the Cavern Club, that had to make him a good guitar player.
Oh, I know, right?
Um,
Yeah, and even Eric Clapton said that in the article you sent me, that George was specific about this one guitar line, and it turned out to be perfect. That's just what the song needed.
Yeah.
So I think as years go by, he gets more accolades as a composer and as an arranger, and definitely as a guitarist.
Yeah.
And you hear his slide guitar playing, and you're like, that's George Harrison. Yep.
Yeah, very signature sound.
Yeah, that's George. You hear the Badfinger songs or whatever, or any of his solo records.
I was one of those McCartney 3-2-1 episodes with Ruben. Did you watch all those?
I did watch all of them. Yeah.
That was interesting when he was talking about A Hard Day's Night and that they slowed it down so George could play that solo.
Yeah.
That is a hard solo.
Oh yeah, and it's a quick tempo too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember in that book by the engineer Jeff Emmerich, he mentioned that they would sometimes slow the tracks down.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know that they did it for that specific track. And it makes you feel better as a guitar player, because as you struggle to play that solo,
Right.
Okay,
I got that.
Fine, but once it goes to
Right, those triplets, yeah.
it's like, how do you do that?
How is he doing that?
Amazing. But then you cheated a little.
Right, exactly. Oh, okay. He was playing that in half speed. Oh, okay.
I think I could even do that.
You could definitely do that. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I love the way All Things Must Pass, like the article was talking about, encompasses all these different styles, yeah, like, the American South, and Indian music and English rock.
And even some R&B.
Yeah, some R&B, because I remember reading that George was kind of like the resident expert on kind of American, soul music. He's the one that always had the records, the Motown records or Stax.
Oh,
and,
really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I'm trying to remember what song there was, like, it was a Ticket to Ride or Drive My Car, or one of those songs where he kind of put in this kind of Motown flavored thing that you wouldn't say, oh, that's Motown, but kind of have to look back now and see what that was. But yeah.
Well, it's a great album, and you're right about the different styles. Like I rarely listen to it track by track, and I have the album, so you have to turn it over all the time. go get the next one, and
right.
So I have not ever really, I don't think, in a long time, listened to it track by track.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm to be totally honest, not every track blows me away.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe if I listen to them a little bit more, they'll start to grow on me. But some of them feel a little bit ordinary, a little bit like, but then others are just stellar, and even the ordinary ones sound nice. They just sound nice.
Right. It'd be interesting to maybe, if you went through and say it was a double album instead of a triple, like what would your picks be? It's like, I've heard people say that about even like the Clash's Sandinista record, which was a triple record.
Yeah.
And there's just, I know what you mean about the Harrison record. There's songs you're like,
yeah,
maybe this should have been out, like an outtake or something. Or
I wonder if Paul and John were like decent enough to like help him a little bit. Like clearly they were stellar songwriters. So did they ever, like, he brings them Within You, Without You, or Man or something. and they're like, "Oh, George, this is really good. Do you mind if we give you a little help? Could we help you? Like,
Right.
you're becoming a great songwriter. Can we work with you a little bit?" Or were they just kind of like, "Okay, George, great. Yeah, thanks."
Right. What do you need? A harmony? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. I don't know. That's a good question. I wonder too, because he obviously grew as a songwriter, from what was it? Don't Bother Me. What is that early George Harrison song?
I can't remember.
Yeah, to something, it's like there's a huge leap there in a short amount of time
Yeah.
from 64 to 69. It's like, wow.
What's
And I wonder,
what's your favorite Beatle George song?
oof, I think because I learned it when I was, I think Here Comes the Sun, even though it's like a really well-known George song,
Mm-hmm.
Beatle George song. I think Here Comes the Sun. I just love it's got it evokes a feeling when you're listening to it.
Sure. Yeah.
It's, even though the lyrics kind of tell you the story, but the music really complements the lyrics.
Mm.
And I love the way it kind of shifts into that 3/4 kind of, da 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 da, and then back to the 4/4. Yeah. So I'd say Here Comes the Sun.
Hmm.
What about you?
Well, I'm a sucker for what you call it. Now I'm having a mental block. That song from Yellow Submarine, which is really just over a drone G for the most
Oh yeah.
part.
What is that?
When I look into your eyes,
Oh yeah.
love is all I see. It's all too much.
It's all too much. Yeah, that's a great one.
I love that song so much. So I don't know if that's my favorite George Beatles song. It might be.
Mhm.
Obviously, I do love Something and Here Comes the Sun.
Yeah.
But I think that one it just blows me away. I just love it so much. I love the lyrics. I love the hopefulness of it. And
Did we ever play that live? I feel like we
I don't
played that
think
before.
so.
Have we maybe just jammed with it? Maybe.
Yeah, probably. It's so easy to learn. It's just like a G, really. And then
I
I also love Taxman a lot.
Taxman's a great one because it kind of grooves too, which it's a little funky,
I think you got to give that up to Paul. Actually, that groove.
The don't, yeah, the bass line is great.
Yeah.
Which the Jam ripped off for that song Start. You know that song?
No, I don't know.
You should listen to the Jam's Start sometime and be like, wait a minute.
Huh.
It's the same bass line basically. I think it maybe modulates differently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's like it goes, I think the Jams goes G to D or something.
Huh. And there's another one of his I really love too. I think it's on is it on Revolver or
I want to tell you.
What?
I want to tell you.
Is that the one that has that piano part that goes do 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 do?
It's slightly dissonant, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's the one.
I don't mind. Yeah.
I love that song.
Yeah. Yeah, I always like that one because he sounds very Liverpudlian on that one.
Yeah.
His voice is like.
I wonder who came up with that dissonant piano line.
I don't know. You think it's McCartney playing it?
I don't know. It could be George Martin too. You have to be really careful about that. Sometimes he came up with some of the.
Yeah.
Like Paul was talking about that on the 3-2-1 thing. There's a part of one song that is George Martin.
Oh yeah. Right, because I remember he was saying that George Martin played some of the more complicated piano parts. Yeah. But McCartney,
whoever came up with that is so interesting to do that.
Yeah.
In the middle of a pop song, right?
Oh yeah.
So it's almost like spooky.
Yep. It is. I know because it hits in the key and then out. It's like yeah. What about Savoy Truffle with those horn parts?
Yeah, Savoy Truffle. It is a great song.
Yeah, I mean it's not a deep meaning song or anything, but
yeah, it's one of those relative to the rest of the Beatles catalog.
Yeah.
It's not great, but if I ever hear Savoy Truffle just come on the radio randomly, I'm like, oh my God, this is great.
Yeah. I think I like it for the horn parts mostly. It's just,
Oh yeah, that's right.
but it's got a great feel to it as well.
Maybe that's his Motown thing coming through again.
I think it might be because it sounded like, I have to go listen to it again, but it sounded like the use of a lot of low end horns. Like it sounds like there's a tenor sax, maybe a baritone sax, and some, yeah, maybe even a trombone. It's like it's very like kind of full sounding, the horns.
Yeah. Oh, and Piggies.
Piggies.
That's a fun song.
Yeah. Old Brown Shoe.
Only a Northern song.
Yeah, that's
Which
true.
I didn't realize until I read that article yesterday that was kind of him. That the content, the lyrics are kind of about like, hey, my songs aren't bad either.
Right.
Like tongue in cheek, like, can you give my songs a chance too?
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's why they didn't include it on Sergeant Pepper, because they thought it was a little too obvious what he was saying there.
We don't need people coming, the lawyers coming after us. Yeah. I saw these, maybe this was like 5 years ago. Keith Richards did these interviews, where they asked him, what do you think about, X, Y, Keith never holds back. And they asked him, well, what did you think about George Harrison? And, and of course he said George was a lovely guy. They were great friends. But he said he always kind of thought the guitar sound George Martin got wasn't, kind of complimentary, it was too thin sounding. He thought that George he should have gotten more attention from George Martin, like, let's work on the guitar sound, or let me fiddle with the EQ on this,
Well, I feel like there's an evolution in George's guitar sound as the Beatles evolved that is kind of along those lines. Like early Beatles songs, George's guitar is very thin. It's kind of like a twangy Buddy Holly kind of guitar, but that's kind of like typical of early rock, right? Early rock had more of that sound.
Yep.
And then as the Beatles moved through the 60s, I felt like George's guitar sound gets thicker and warmer. Whereas when you finally get to something in 69.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's like thick and warm.
Oh yeah.
So maybe perfect. Maybe it was just the changing of the rock sound. It was George Martin. I don't know.
Yeah, and the solo stuff, it's not same sounding.
No. I don't know who. Oh, it was Phil Spector produced "All Things Must Pass."
All Things Must Pass. Yeah. I was wondering about that, like his later records, like 33 1/3 or Dark Horse. Who produced that? Yeah, I can't remember who produced those.
I wonder why he went with Phil Spector.
I don't know. Is it just because Phil Spector had the reputation and they knew him?
I don't know. Maybe
even though he was crazy.
It was interesting that Danny Harrison was saying that he's enjoying going back through and getting away from Phil Spector's mix because it's so like everything's just jammed together, a wall of sound.
Yeah.
And that he's like all these other things that were in there that you can't hear.
Yeah.
I always did feel like the All Things Must Pass mix is not my favorite type of mix. I think Phil Spector just leans too hard into that wall of sound thing.
Yeah, I think so too.
I guess Paul wasn't crazy about his work on Let It Be either.
Right, because they did the Let It Be Naked back 20 years ago or something now.
Yeah.
Where they took everything out.
It would have been cool. Like, I don't know who was available at the time. I mean, obviously George Martin probably would have done it.
Yep.
But imagine if some of the later producers were available, like T-Bone Burnett or Rick Rubin or
oh, I know.
Brian Eno. You know, those guys would have been really interesting.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, because the Phil Spector Let It Be just sounded like a mess.
A little bit. Yeah. But I wonder who else was out there. Like what other producers were starting to make a name for themselves besides Phil Spector and George Martin?
Back then?
I don't even know the names of these guys, to be honest.
Yeah, I was trying to think of some of the English, like John Leckie was producing some stuff for Pink Floyd, but I don't know if he would have been the right person. Who else produced that? Shel Tammy, but he was the Kinks guy, right? In the Who.
I don't know. I don't know.
And those always seem like really quick productions too. So he
I
probably
guess
wouldn't have-
what's his name was probably just getting started. Um, the guy that Springsteen worked with a lot, and then made the Beats headphones with Dr. Dre.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy.
Jimmy Iovine.
Yeah.
What about, oh, here's a person, the guy who produced all the Stones records back then, Jimmy Miller.
Oh, okay.
I would have been an interesting, because Jimmy Miller had a real, like a kind of a rock sound, like American. I don't know if that would have worked. I mean, Jimmy Miller was perfect for the Stones for all those records he did, you know,
Yeah.
Beggar's Banquet and Let It Bleed, Exile on Main Street. I mean, they had a streak of records. Sticky Fingers.
I think John Lennon used Phil Spector also for his first album, didn't he?
And he did, yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know that they were in love with Phil Spector, I guess. Paul was not, and Paul
Right.
self-produced his first album.
Right. And it's a very bare bones, anti Phil Spector record almost.
I actually love that album. I think McCartney, the first McCartney album,
Oh, it's great.
yeah, I think that stands up, in my opinion, is McCartney's best album.
Mhm.
Really. And
Yeah, I put
I
that
even-
in Ram at the top of my
Yeah.
favorite McCartney.
I think I even like it more than All Things Must Pass and more than Imagine,
Wow.
which is rare for me to say, right? Because Paul's probably my least favorite of those three as a songwriter.
Yeah.
But I think he was, that album is, I love it so much.
Oh, yeah. That's a great record.
Yeah.
Yeah. His songwriting.
Sparseness that makes it so good.
Yep. Yeah. His kind of post Beatle, yeah, maybe state of mind as well had a lot to do with it. I remember in the Rick Rubin thing, he was saying that he was heartbroken.
Yeah. And he just went up to Scotland, just him and Linda.
Yeah.
And he was trying to figure out, what do I do now? Like, how do I start over? And
Right. Yeah. Go back to playing Hamburg.
yeah. There's some tracks on that are so good. Like the one about leaning on the lamppost. Da, 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 da. I can't remember.
Oh, what's that one? No.
That I made up my mind.
Mhm.
Anyway, that's great. And then Junk is great. And
Right. We've played Junk before. Yeah.
Lovely Linda.
Yeah.
And Maybe I'm Amazed is on there. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's just a really good record.
Yeah. It does. It just definitely stands up the test of time. Yeah.
But so if we went track by track through All Things Must Pass, to be honest, there's some tracks I won't really know.
Yeah.
I just don't know them very well.
Right.
I'll Have You Anytime. And then My Sweet Lord.
Yeah.
Wawa.
Oh, I like Wawa.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Isn't It a Pity?
Yep.
What Is Life?
Mhm.
If Not For You. Beautiful.
That's a great one too.
Behind That Locked Door. Like
Um,
in my mind, I can't pull that song up.
yeah, I can't either. I was doing good until you hit that one.
Let It Down. That's the one where he, in that article yesterday, he said Olivia said that John didn't like it.
That's right. But yeah, she really liked it though,
She
right?
liked it, yeah.
Yeah.
Run of the Mill. I Live for You. And then
Yeah.
Beware of Darkness, which is a great song.
Yeah. Beware of Darkness. I like. Apple Scruffs.
Apple Scruffs is a funny song.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. That was about the hippies who used to hang around, right? The apple officers.
Oh, is that what it is?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I thought I read that.
Ballad of Sir Frankie Crisp.
Yep.
And then All Things Must Pass, which,
Right.
so if we're gonna do best solo Beatles songs, like who made the best song?
Whew.
I think
Boy.
All Things Must Pass would be in my top three.
I think so too. Yeah.
I think Imagine is probably number one. I don't think any of them made a better song than Imagine, personally.
Right. And it's one of those songs, even though you hear it all the time, it's still okay to hear it again.
It's like a perfect song.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Um, yeah, I think All Things Must Pass. If we were to think, yeah, like a solo, your favorite solo, like George song, would it be All Things Must Pass?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm right there with you.
I'm not even sure what number two would be, to be honest. Probably Give Me Love.
Yep. You know
Um,
what song I used to love when I was in middle school was I had two that I would play over and over again. Cracker Box Palace.
who's that?
And Gets George.
Oh,
It's a really, yeah, there's a video for it too, actually, that he made in the 70s. It's kind of crazy. And Blow Away. I used to love that George Harrison song too.
hmm.
Um,
He
but
has a
yeah,
lot of albums, and I think some of them started to become very not well known.
yeah, I wasn't sure if it was because he was losing interest,
Yeah.
because his later late 70s records um, always had some good songs, but they also seem to have a lot of filler on them too. Uh, yeah.
What's the one after All Things Must Pass?
Um,
What it? I think it had
I think
What
I
Is
should
Love
pull.
on it.
Oh yeah, we pull up his
Um,
discography. George Harrison.
Dark Horse?
Might be Dark Horse. Was that the one where he was kind of losing his voice? Where
I think so, yeah.
I remember always being confused by that, like listening to those records as a kid.
Right.
Like, why does his voice sound so different?
Oh, there's
Like,
Living in the Material World.
oh yeah, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that has Give Me Love on it.
Yeah,
Um, but
right.
then I think he really,
Dark Horse, Extra Texture. I
uh-huh.
liked 33 and a Third. That was the one I think I had like in middle school. I remember getting that. I think that had Cracker Box. Yeah, that had Cracker Box Palace on it.
There's a self-titled album called George Harrison that came out in 1979.
I think that has Blow Away on it. I think
Yes, it does.
it's like a picture of him on the cover walking. He's got like
No,
a bad perm or something.
he
Or is
does.
that?
It's like he's in a tree.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It's a very Paul Simon-y kind of cover.
right.
Oh, here's 33 and third.
Yeah,
Yeah, why did he get a perm?
I don't know. It was almost like a mullet perm too, because it was. Yeah,
That's one of life's great mysteries. And then he doesn't really do anything of any notoriety until the mid 80s with Cloud Nine and the Traveling Wilburys.
right. I remember he did. What was that? Somewhere in England record.
Yeah, now
Was that
talk
the we
about,
was
look at
when
his
we
hair
was?
on that one.
Ooh,
That's a
the
serious,
mustache and a perm.
oh my gosh, George, that's not a great look.
No,
It's
right.
almost,
And
yeah,
yeah, Gon Tropo. I didn't even buy that one. I don't think. I was just like,
I never even heard of that one. Oh, he's trying to be like 80s-ish here with like a Talking Heads kind of coverish
yeah,
album cover look.
yeah. I'm looking up the songs in this, and I don't remember any of them.
And then Cloud Nine, I honestly I didn't like that album. It was just a little too poppy, and I bet Jeff Lynne produced it. I bet he did.
We should have a show on Jeff Lynne.
Yeah.
The
We do
hate
not
mail.
like
No, I agree. I think the songs were there on Cloud Nine, but I think but if you want to drive Winnie crazy, play Got My Mind Set on You.
I do
I've
not.
never seen a radio station changed faster than when that comes on. And when he's like flick,
Yeah, I agree totally.
she's like the Flash changing the station.
That's not a good song.
Have you heard the original?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess
Johnny Ray or someone, right? Johnny Ray did.
yeah, he was a big fan of Charlie Ray's, and
Yeah. Devil's Radio.
no, I loved Brainwashed actually. That's his posthumous album.
Oh yeah.
That is great. Actually, I love that album. Who produced that? If that's Jeff Lynne, I'm gonna lose my breakfast. Uh,
Bleh. What time is it? 11:40.
who produced Brainwashed? Yep. Oh no,
Jeff Lynne.
Jeff Lynne and Danny Harrison.
Oh, maybe Danny stepped in and said, "Take that flange snare sound and go back to where you came from."
Get out of there, Jeff.
Yeah. Yeah, his drum sound just, and the vocals,
I
the way
love
he
Devil and
treats,
yeah,
the way he treats the vocals, I'm just like, no.
Devil in the Deep Blue Sea is great.
Yep.
Rising Sun is a great song.
Yes.
Pisces Fish is a great song. Looking for My Life is a great song.
Oh yeah.
Any Road is a great song. Like, this is a really good album. Rocking Chair in Hawaii is lovely. It's a beautiful instrumental song.
Did you like the Traveling Wilburys? Were you?
I did. I liked that album. First one, yeah.
Yeah. Those were hard to find at one point, weren't they? Like recently? I remember. I don't know what it was. Yeah, I liked them too. I think I probably heard them enough that I don't need to have them.
Right.
You know, I end of the line. I've heard that a lot.
Yeah. I think it's the end of the line for me in the Traveling Wilburys.
Yeah.
It's amazing that certain people did not end up being a Wilbury, like Springsteen very easily could have been a Wilbury.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Or who
Who else
else?
at the time?
Like
Tom Petty did make the Wilbury.
yeah. Jackson Brown could have been a Wilbury.
Jackson Brown.
You know, like those sort of that aged white guy rock.
Right.
Guy.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I could see Elvis Costello could have been the one Brit. Oh no, George Harrison's British. So yeah,
George
Elvis Costello could have been a Wilbury.
Yeah. At the time, when was the Wilburys? Was that late 80s?
Like 86, 87.
Yeah, I was like Warren Zevon. What do you think about Warren Zevon?
Well, he could have been a
Maybe.
Wilbury.
He was never at that level, really.
No.
I mean, he kind of like flirted with it, you know.
It feels like Springsteen's the obvious choice if they were going to have one more Wilbury.
Right. What would his nickname would have? His nickname would have been.
I thought they all had nicknames.
Yeah.
Maybe we could have like a bizarro world Traveling Wilburys.
Oh right, yeah, the Bizarro World.
Or an all-female version.
Oh, that'd be good. Who would have been the all-female version of that at the time?
Okay, let's go. Let's see. It would have been Bonnie Raitt.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Bonnie Raitt.
If they were going to dip into the the classics world, they could have pulled. Maybe Joni Mitchell would have done it.
Oh yeah.
For maybe Ricky Lee Jones.
Yeah, Linda Ronstadt. Or she did her own super group though, right? With Emmylou Harris and Dolly Parton.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe Pat Benatar.
Oh yeah, from the rock world. Yeah.
I'm just thinking 80s, like who would have been
right. Who was on the top?
Definitely
but not
Bonnie Raitt. I think she would have.
Yeah, I can see Bonnie Raitt.
Who
would complement her?
I think you're right on Linda Ronstadt because she she crossed genres so much.
She has such a great voice.
If you had gone into like new wave more, you could have had like Annie Lennox and Debbie Harry. But they're not really what the Traveling Wilburys were. They were more like roots rock.
Right, more rootsy. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, maybe Lucinda Williams wasn't really big yet, right?
Not really. She was getting there. Yeah.
She could have been a Wilbury.
Yeah, that's true. She would have been a good choice. Bonnie Raitt, Lucinda Williams. She could have been. Yeah, Lucinda could have been the younger. Do we have any British ones?
Well, I was thinking like Joan Armatrading could have been a Wilbury, a female.
Oh yeah, yeah, because she's more rootsy. I was trying to think like in the
Tracy
like.
Chapman.
What's that?
Tracy Chapman.
Tracy Chapman. Yep. I was thinking like at first I thought Kate Bush, then I thought no, she was more.
Yeah, she's not rootsy really.
Yeah, she's more ethereal.
Yeah, I was thinking Suzanne Vega, but I think she's too ethereal too.
Oh yeah, she definitely has a folk background though.
She
But
does.
yeah,
Yeah.
some of the stuff her ex-husband produced was a little, whatever his name was, the producer there. I can't remember his name.
I could put her on an alternate. Yeah, she could be like a possibility.
What about Chrissy Hind?
Oh, definitely. Yes.
Yeah, Chrissy Hind. That would be a killer lineup.
Chrissy Hind, Bonnie Raitt, Lucinda Williams.
Yeah, Joan Armatrading or Tracy Chapman.
Yes.
Um,
Maybe Joni Mitchell.
yeah,
Joni would have been the Bob Dylan equivalent, right? Like
right.
pulling in someone. Well, Roy Orbison, though, you need someone vintagey. Oh,
Wanda Jackson.
Springfield. Oh,
Who?
yeah, Wanda Jackson or
Yeah.
Dusty Springfield.
Oh, Dusty Springfield. Right. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
That's true. All right, we got it. Get everyone's managers on the phone.
All right. So in conclusion, how many stars for All Things Must Pass?
It's ooh. Hmm. I think it's between 4 and 5.
Yeah, I was going to say 4.5.
Yeah. Because there's some songs that, like you were saying, that like if I were to, I could pare it down to a double album probably if I went through and listened to it.
Yes. And maybe Phil
Yeah.
Spector's production.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I think those two things bring it down to the 4.5 mark.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Oh man. Well,
All right.
I have to go to another meeting.
Okay, go enjoy your other meeting.
Put this on YouTube and then we'll take off.
Yes, definitely.
The Lake and Bridge.
Yeah, first podcast.
Lake and Bridge podcast is back. We should do these every week.
I'd love to. This was great.
Yeah. What can we talk about next week? We could even prepare.
Well, we did prepare a little. We both read articles.
We did. Yes, that's true.
And we watched the McCartney thing.
Yeah. And we've been listening. Yeah. We're both kind of obsessive about music. So
Yeah. All right. We'll think of some topics and we'll send them to each other.
wait, there's some kind of COVID thing going on in the world. What? No, wait. I was checking out the new Springsteen. What? Yeah. Well, we'll come up with a topic for next week.
Okay. Oh, and thanks for your help on these amps too.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking forward to hearing them in person too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, Ted. Have a good afternoon.
You too, Dan. I'll talk to you soon.
I'm gonna get some rain here later. I don't know about you.
It's actually looking cloudy right now. I didn't think it was supposed to rain, but it's been a rainy summer. We've gotten so much rain.
Yeah.
And cool. It's been like in the 60s and 70s, but I think it's going to warm up this weekend to 80. So
cool. All right, sir.
All right, my friend. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.